And there's something I wanted to bring up about this, which actually happened to me recently. You can reject your rejection. Hi everyone, welcome to OA Dynasty Forum. This week we'll be talking about something very critical. It's something that affects almost everybody at some point or the other, but differently. I mean in different size or shape or magnitude today. Do you want to introduce us to the topic we're discussing?
Yes, so we're going to be talking about handling rejection.
Oh my.
Handling rejection.
That sounds huge.
Yes. So first of all, I know that you must have heard at some point, some people got rejected, and probably it's even your experience at the moment. You're facing one rejection or the other, or you have faced rejection in the past, or you're going to face rejection in the future. And I know that you must have also heard that rejection can mean redirection, and that's actually right. So on the forum today, we're going to be talking more about our practical examples as to how we have handled rejection in the past. Success journey, life is a process, so we are also on this journey together, and we just wanted to, glean from some of our experiences and share with you so that it can be a blessing to you, and so that when next you're going through, through rejection, you can say that, well, I know some people have gone through rejection before and they were able to overcome, and so you will also overcome.
To be honest with you guys, it's easier to sit down and talk about rejection than to pass through rejection. It can be tough, and it can create a scenario whereby you feel like the whole world is just crashing down on you, right? So it's not always a palatable experience. So I think we just have to put that across to everyone. It's not always a palatable experience. It is what I call a desert period or a wilderness experience, because it's something that is very difficult to pass through. So today we'll just be sharing some tips on what can be done, and most importantly what we have done in the past, and how it all turned out to be. And before we proceed, let me just put it out here that rejection can happen at any time. What is not important, or what we are going to dwell on, is what you do with the rejection. And so, what do we mean by rejection? It's just in clear term. Rejection means someone saying no when you anticipate to get a yes. Absolutely. As simple as that.
Yes, absolutely. And also, rejection is usually from the other person's perception or opinion of you, or probably of the application that you're, or the request that you're putting forward. So it's most times it's not you saying no to yourself. It's other people saying no to probably what you have packaged, right? So we want you to know that it's usually most times the perception of that person. They might perceive that you are not yet at the stage they want for that particular thing, or they feel that no, we don't just want this right now. And sometimes, like I said earlier, it could be God using that no. It could actually even be nothing that you have done wrong. Trust me, it could just be God working in ways, to help you to get to what He wants for you, which is not that thing that you're seeking.
And that's so very true. Rejection is something that may not be a function of your fault. It could be something that is just happening maybe by chance. And sometimes they have rules made for applications or for job offers or for things like that. So it could be something happening around that you are not even aware of, or it could be a function of change of rules or change of criteria, So we're going to get into all these, factors, and we try and put some experiences into it so that we can all learn together. So what do you think are those things that could cause rejection?
Well, sometimes it could be that you haven't you don't have the right information. Ignorance, lack of knowledge in a particular thing can make you to get rejected. So for example, you're making a visa application and you are not you are not very conversant with what others have done in the past to grant them success in that domain, right? So you can just package your with the little knowledge that you have, and the application gets rejected. So I'm going to share an example. In 2015, actually, when I was applying to come to join my hobby in Canada, I had applied for a visiting visa, right? And I was actually not, the main intention of coming was not to just visit, right? Because my husband was here. So I shouldn't have applied for a visiting visa. I should have applied for open work permit. So I got rejected on that application. Because I didn't have enough knowledge. I know some other people might have applied for visiting, but for that situation, there was a clearer route that I could have gone through, which is the open work permit application. And when I got rejected, I looked what did we do wrong, what did I not do right, and we actually discovered that, well, for this particular purpose for which you're going, there's actually a designated process, which was which was the open work permit. And so what did I do? I packaged my application and I packaged it for the open work permit, and I explained in my application why I got rejected, or why I thought I got rejected for the visiting visa, and I got the visa. So lack of knowledge in that particular domain, I think it's one thing that can cause rejection.
You are very, very correct. You are very, very correct. And if I can build up a little bit on what you have just said, when the lack of knowledge is playing a role and you see that actually affected you in the first time, I think it's important to always spell it out if you are doing that same application again, to let them know, okay, you have done this before and you've been rejected. Because if they see that you've been rejected once and you're applying again, some will not even go through the whole application package, they just reject you again. But if you send a support letter to that effect to explain why that happened in the first time, I think that could be an advantage for you. And if I'm going to add another point to the first point, is probably lack of effort. I've heard stories of people not formatting their CV properly, or people making mistakes on their application forms and things like that, and that could cause a rejection as well.
Yeah. So one other thing that can cause rejection is that due to no fault of your own.
Yeah.
You could, you could have actually done everything the right way, and for some reason the application was rejected. Sometimes you get rejected due to no fault. You get rejected.
Yeah, I actually have a story in that effect as well. And a professor told me not too long ago that I put up an advert for PhD students, but I've planned to take a lady. And I was like, why lady? And she told me that the first student I ever had as a PhD student was a lady. And I'm very close to retirement, and I want my last student to be a lady. But this was not mentioned in the advert. So ladies and guys would apply, and if a guy is very qualified and didn't get it, he will be wondering, what did I do wrong? You have done nothing wrong. Absolutely. The person has set a standard that was not included in the advert. So no fault of your own. So sometimes you just need to don't be too hard on yourself for some rejections. It could be no fault of your own.
And we are children of God. We also believe that whatever happens to us, that God is working it out for our favor.
Oh yes.
So sometimes some things that are not so palatable will come our way, but then God is using that, to prune us and to make us, to mold us into better, beings. So we tend to see that way, so that we take all the rejection that have happened to us in the past, and we are grateful for them, because they are actually part of the things that God used to mold us to where we are today. And we trust God that He will continue to mold us into the perfect shape, or into the perfect form that He has for us.
Amen. So as the conversation continues, we just want to nail it on again to let you know that most of these rejections are none of your fault. Like you said, it could be other things that is very out of your own control. And most importantly, some rejections can happen because God is saving you from trouble. So when it happens, just look at some rejection in that part. God saving you from the bigger trouble. So sometimes some rejection could call for celebration.
Yeah, so having said that, I would also want to say that sometimes rejections are born out of you not pulling weight.
Yeah.
Or probably you are not even ready for that particular, sometimes you feel like, we are prepared, I'm prepared to be the CEO, but are you really prepared to be the CEO? So I think it's important, when you get rejected as well, I think it's important for you to self-evaluate yourself and be sure that you actually fit into that criteria for the role, and that you are able to actually perform. It's very, very critical for us to self-evaluate. Like, you shouldn't tell yourself a lie, even if other people tell. Like, you should always tell yourself the truth. Like, this is me. Am I really capable of this? Am I really able to do this? And once you're able, once you have reassessed yourself and re-examined yourself, and you are sure that, well, I think I can get better at this, I can do this better, and then you start to work. So if you were rejected for an interview just because you didn't pull your weight, then you know that you can actually get better.
Yeah, and that's very correct. Capacity and capability, very important. Do you have the mental strength to handle that position or that office? Very important. So, what do we do when we get rejected?
Like I mentioned earlier, we have to reevaluate the situation, right?
Yeah.
We have to reassess and ensure that to see, is this any fault of mine? Or if it is a fault, if it was something that you didn't do right, there's no need to gloat over it, there's no need to mourn over it. I know it might be very painful that, well, I made this, it's good that you know that, okay, this is not my fault, right? But when it is your fault, that this is something that you could have done right, it's possible that you feel bad. Well, you can feel bad for 1 or 2 minutes, but please get up.
Forgive yourself.
Forgive yourself and get up. Ask God for direction. Ask God to guide you, so that you don't make such mistakes. And that mistake actually is, you're already building experience. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So get up, snap out of that pity stage. You don't need to fall into any depression because of that. Another opportunity would come, but it takes you realizing that you made a mistake in the first place, and then you would work on it. And God is a God of second chances. He gives second chances, and He's definitely going to give you a second chance.
Yeah, I mean, I have this popular saying that one swallow does not make a summer. I mean, life goes on. Dust yourself and move on.
Yeah.
And another thing you can do with rejection is that, let's say it's a job or things like that, you can request for more information on why your assessor thought you were not fit. So make a request if it is possible to know why you were rejected in the first place, so you can learn and prevent that mistake from happening in the future. So always reach out to your assessor and ask for more information. Yeah, and don't forget to reach out. Reach out to people, ask people for advice. For example, your visa was rejected. Go online, check forums, and see how people handled it. Did they counter it? Did they, appeal it? So what did they do? So always seek guidance or talk to your supervisors or your superior. What can you do in this scenario? So always reach out to people to know what people can advice people can give you when you get rejected. And when there's rejection, especially a big one, always be among people. Don't isolate.
Don't isolate.
It can be dangerous.
Yes, don't isolate.
Do not isolate, especially when you get a very big rejection. So get people around you that can give you the moral support or the mental strength that you need to skate through that period.
Yeah, and I think it's also very important to speak up. I know that there are some things that happen to us and we feel ashamed and you feel less of yourself. Really, see, there's really nothing new under the heaven. So get someone who you can trust, you know, so a mentor that you, or a spiritual father that you can talk, you know, that you can trust, and speak up. Let them know exactly how you feel. And you know, problem shared, at least it's some percentage solved, and they can actually give you some guidelines on how you can improve, right? Yes.
Yeah. And there's something I wanted to bring up about this, which actually happened to me recently. You can reject your rejection. That is a possibility. There was a job I applied for not too long ago, and they sent me a rejection letter. 2019, you know, and I replied the rejection letter with some things that I thought could be a factor why they sent me the rejection letter. And a few weeks later, they called me and said, okay, this is okay. Let me open it in this way. It has to do with funding. They didn't have enough funding to cover for my pay. So I mailed them and told them, okay, this can be done, this can be done, this can be done. And they called me about a few weeks later and they told me that, oh, they have this funding body that can support to get some money paid, you know, for that program. And they brought me on board. So sometimes when you get rejected, don't just accept it like that. And I had the story of a guy who he was rejected. And instead of accepting that rejection and just moving on, he sent the company a program that he has already scheduled for that position. I didn't mean they offered it to him. And the CEO looked at it and it was so elaborate. And you know, some proposal cannot be so ignored. So they called him back and said, wow, this is so impressive. Yeah. We have filled that position, but I have a higher position for you. And that's how he got a job higher than what he was being interviewed for. So sometimes you can reject your rejection.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, I want you to know that you are not alone in this. Yeah. You know, I've gone through my fair share of rejections. You know, when you open that email and you can almost read that we regret to inform you.
That's a bad way of rejecting somebody.
Yeah, we regret to inform you that this and this. You know, so like and you know, it gets to a point where you know you just lose track of how many rejections that you have received. Trust me, it's part of life.
Yeah.
But you would definitely have a testimony. You would definitely, you know, in hindsight, you would appreciate God for those rejections.
Yeah, rejections are not the end of life. And one thing we want to say to wrap it up is that when you are rejected, go to God, pray to God, ask God for redirection.
Yeah.
You know, ask God if you are even supposed to apply for that thing again. You know, God can tell you not to do that thing again. You know, God can tell you to face another direction. And that's the God factor that we can never leave out, which is the biggest factor in any situation of life.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And we are rooting for you. We pray that God will give you wisdom. Amen. You know, needed at every stage of your life. When you feel rejected, God will bring you out of that situation.
Amen. Yeah. And we are waiting for your testimony.
Yeah, we are waiting. We are waiting. So until next time when we come again and bring another exciting and interesting
topic conversation
for discussion on OA Dynasty Forum, we say have a blessed time. See you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.